maybe now they really start to bring it and they start to develop into what they're capable of doing sooner than later, and it helps them be contributors in this offense. We'll see. We don't know that yet. They got to be consistent. That's the thing that a lot of young wide receivers aren't going to have is consistency, early on in their careers. But, today was a good step forward, I think, for all of those guys. That was all pretty much offense, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like there wasn't a whole lot going on defense. I think that they got, some plays here and there, but overall, it wasn't the best defensive performance, in my opinion. Again, they held them to 24 points. The last touchdown was kind of garbage, but it was also almost kind of making up for the fact that Derek Carr fumbled to give us the ball back, which they should have scored points on that drive. I just feel like there wasn't really any major standouts today on the defensive side. The Smiths brothers didn't have a sack. Kevin King had a nice pick. Give him credit for that. He's starting to get interceptions. Got 3 on the season, so that's he's looking pretty good right now. I mean, he's the one who kind of gotten shadowed a little bit by Jair, but
everyone was writing him off, and now I was one of them early in training camp.
Yeah, but he leads the team in interceptions.
Yep.
So, and he probably should have more than he has, but he's dropped a couple. But that also means he's been in good position to make them, or at least attempt to make them. So for the most part, he's playing pretty well, and he's playing through whatever nagging injuries he has had because he's not 100% healthy, but he's playing. So that's a good sign. So I'll give him some credit. I don't know, other than that, though. I mean, Martinez had like 16 tackles, but I don't know. I'm so torn on that, especially when we start talking about when he becomes a free agent and his contract's up, because he makes a lot of tackles, and everyone on Twitter says he does what you ask him to do. He does whatever you need him to do, he does it. But I don't know. I'm torn on that. I really want like a major like playmaking linebacker, sideline to sideline difference maker. We just never ever draft that. So who knows if we're not going to do that, and if that's going to be a philosophy that Gutekunst is not going to, or he's going to continue the same way that Ted, which is ironic because Ted was a linebacker, but if they're going to continue to just kind of not put as much stock in that position, then all right, maybe we do have to re-sign him. I hope it's not for a large contract because I don't think he deserves a huge contract. I think he can make some plays as a tackler, but 16 tackles fills up the stat sheet. But how many impact plays? I guess you could say he caused that fumble just because of him hustling over there to make that play, making Carr have to try to stretch that ball out. All right, fine.
I will say this about Martinez, man. He's shown this year that he is an impact player. He definitely has shed a lot. His defensive line, Kenny Clark is still overall on the plus side as a plus minus as a player, but he's significantly down. He's like, I think, at like an 80% clip lower than he was last year. Because last year he was at like a plus 10, plus 11 for most of the season. He's only at like just under like a plus 4.8 or something right now. And Martinez is still having games where big uglies are getting on him, and he's still making the plays within that 5-yard range. My issue with him over last year was everybody was crowning him, and all his plays were beyond 5 yards. This year, it's exactly what you're looking for from a middle linebacker. Even if the big uglies aren't keeping him clean, you want those tackles to be 5 yards or within or behind the line of scrimmage. He's been delivering that consistently, and he's really not a coverage guy, but he's been doing decent. So has he earned a huge contract yet? No. But he's still a young enough player where you got to keep him around. Maybe it's a shorter-term deal or a more incentive deal, but he's proven right now he's growing. He's still young because he's another one of those guys that was young when they got him in the draft, where they got him. So there's a lot of hate, and I understand it over Martinez, but it's
I don't hate him though. I don't hate him.
Well, no, I just mean about his play and what he does. As far as I know,
Yeah.
not you, but and look, I'm not a middle linebacker guy, Ryan. I believe that this team doesn't need one. This defense doesn't need one. This league, it's not important. The teams that have one aren't. They're just like the teams that pay the big time running backs. They're not winning organizations. That's why they paid a big guy. It's a name, not really production. They don't equal wins. So I think Martinez is perfect for this style of defense, and he's got the ability to get better. I just think I think that's an old narrative people are living on and not paying enough attention to what type of player he's been. And Dave has forced me, and even Monty has forced me to look at it a little closer, and I have to actually defend it now. Stop smiling at me, Dave. It's creepy.
Yes. Who are your standout players then?
I am going to say definitely have to be Jamal and Aaron Jones, because I think with those guys stepping up, it really changes this offense, especially with Adams injured right now. You have to give it to MVS. It doesn't matter if it's 2 catches. His job on this team is supposed to be the big play guy. He delivered the big plays today, right? So, and of course Aaron Rodgers, because he's doing what we've said he needed to do. He's being the Tom Brady of this offense when it's needed, and still being the Aaron Rodgers that we all know and love with the big plays, the extended plays. But he's doing all those little things that you, Dave, and I are always hard on him about. He's been doing it. And really, I'm going to give it to the overall defense. People can bitch, they can nitpick, we can talk about big plays. The big plays, we've explained that there. They're still at 24 points for this game. They're still under 24 points on the season. Again, the defense delivered. They kept the points. They essentially kept 17 points off the board this week, okay, with the turnovers, okay? 2 turnovers, the fumble, that's 7. The other fumble, the interception, that's 7. And the stop on 4th down, that's 3 points. So the defense, 17-point swing on their turnovers and stops. So overall, I'm going to give it that. So those are my MVPs, my standouts.
All right. My first, Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Perfect game in Packer history. Only 6 incompletions, but the guy had 6 touchdowns for every incompletion he missed. So, Also, too, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, I know you guys mentioned it, but rushing yards, receiving combined, I believe they had, I think it was around 130, 140 total yards of rushing and receiving combined for them. And they had 2 touchdowns in the receiving game. MVS, you guys already stated it, big play. He's there, and he solidified himself as that speedster on the outside. Blake Martinez, Jay already knew I was going to go there even before and this was brought up. 16 tackles. Thanks, buddy, for smiling. I appreciate it. I appreciate your smiling like you unappreciate mine. Adrian Amos. Guy was told, I said it earlier, we were told, he can't cover. You signed him for run defense. Oh, my God. Well, guys, he's got 6 passes defended. He's got a pick on the season, especially getting one from Mitch in week 1. And he's just there in the run defense when you need him to. I saw him a lot today flying in there when the linebackers couldn't. But my final one, and I am ashamed you guys didn't say his name, J.K. Scott.
He wasn't used much.
I don't care. The time he was, he still flipped the field.
Actually, I'm actually going to jump in real quick because I'm ashamed at all 3 of us. I think the one that we all missed that should be shouted out because they're unsung heroes, the offensive line. They played their asses off because without them, Aaron doesn't have
I think Ryan did mention them in the beginning.
I said them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did I miss it? Did I just miss it?
You fell asleep.
I didn't fall asleep. I just missed it. My bad. Sorry.
I definitely heard him say, the whole unit.
Sorry, yep. Jay's just sorry.
That's
Go to
all
your corner.
It's all good. Well, I think, guys, it's getting about that time. But today was fun.
There was not much to nitpick on this game today. That's the thing.
Yeah, not that I want to nitpick, but sometimes
of course
necessary.
we don't want to, but there wasn't. I mean, there's those guys out there today like Ryan. Packers for the win. Bruce, I'm calling you out, man. Rodgers had a perfect game. This guy literally had a touchdown for every incompletion he had. And you want to sit there and be like, well, I don't think his game today was as good as his stats show. What else do you want him to do? Like, give me a break. This guy is grumpy that we gave up a first and 2/4 for Savage. I'm sorry. The guy complains about everything. And it's not just him, it's a lot of Packers fans. We are 6-1, folks. We're 6-1. We're 3-0 in the division. I've never seen more negativity from a fan base.
Here's what baffles me to jump on that, Dave. We're 6-1, and they're still pissy and nitpicking him when all the fans were agreeing and were like, yeah, you're right. When everybody else said we were going to be like 3-3 or 2-4 or 1-5, and it's like, so to them it's like, okay, so you're not going to be happy no matter what, I guess, right? Because like they're only going to get better.
Okay, for instance, I was listening to the post-game show right after the game on 105.7, the Fan down out of Milwaukee with Bill Michaels and Gary Ellerson, who are always doing it. They called this an ugly win. I was like, are you serious? They called this an ugly win. I was like, all right, we put 42 points on the board. We held them at 24. And Rodgers looked godly and had a perfect passer rating, and you're calling this an ugly win.
Detroit was an ugly win. That was the definition of a gutted out ugly win.
Exactly. So I'm not quite sure.
See, when people say stuff like that, I question if they really watch the game.
They want ratings. They want ratings.
I question. I want to call them and say, so did you fall asleep during the game? And you're just like, or were you accidentally watching a replay of a game from last week or a different week? Like, because you need to explain yourself for your stupidity. Sorry.
I couldn't believe
yourself.
it. I couldn't believe it.
But it's got to be for ratings. It really does.
I don't think it was an ugly win. I thought it was a beautiful thing. I had a lot of fun watching that game because who doesn't love to see 6 touchdowns orchestrated by Aaron Rodgers in that offense? It's a beautiful thing, and it's something that, we got used to and kind of spoiled for a long time, but that was, that hasn't happened a lot recently. So to be able to get that again at Lambeau in front of the fans, nice day out, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I have nothing bad to end this on because we are 6-1. We're in the driver's seat. We're one of the best teams in the entire league. And it's going to be fun. We're going to watch them on Sunday night at Kansas City. It's not going to be the same because more than likely
we all
not
wanted
have Mahomes. But at the end of the day, I'm sure they're going to still bring it. They're going to think that everybody is obviously everyone's going to probably pick against them now that they don't have Mahomes, and they're going to feel slighted, and they're going to bring their best. So it'll be Sunday night. Whole world's watching. I'm really curious to see how how the offense and the defense continues to progress and mature. And offense is looking better and better. Defense has been, not maybe as good as they were when they started the season, but they're still playing well. And once they get some guys back from injury, fully healthy, I think we'll start to see, what we saw the first several games of the year. So, on that note, everybody, thanks for listening in to the Packers 365 postgame show. Again, I am Ryan Molstead on Twitter, Packers 365. Dave, tell them, how do they follow you?
At Stegen Cheese, STEG, the letter N. CHEESE at Stegen Cheese.
Yeah, and Jay, where are you at?
At UPJ33. It's pretty self-explanatory. At UPJ33.
Very good. Well, again, as always, glad to be back. Sorry I missed the last week, but things are all good in the world again. So the three of stooges of us talking about Packers for 2 hours, and